Architect Hariyani's topic today is design and planning driven by ethos of sustainability and spirituality. We would like to invite him to kindly proceed with his presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for wonderful introduction. And thank you, Utpal, for having me part of this wonderful initiative. Uh, so we'll just have few slides about I&I Design Studio, the way we really operate our practice across the India and South Asia and outside internationally are driven by value systems. And these are the five basic values. We put people first, do what is right, always design with community in mind, and we always believe in collaboration. So, driven to achieve, and we always push ourselves to work together. So, for any practice which does sizable projects in multiple sectors, our values have to be aligned and filtered into the organization to guide all projects that we do. So these are the basic values that helps us operate with context. And then when you have a multiple locations, multiple sectors, and so forth, the values have to really go through the process of creating a framework so that everybody follows the same framework. And we call that 10 metrics framework, 10 metrics that are developed to really guide all of the projects in a framework system are humanism, story, innovation, integration, sustainability, and so forth. Now, this is a unique framework that we have developed over the last 3 decades. And there is a book published on 10 metrics that we go by US publisher, and is available globally. Once you have a values that guide the framework for your practice, then it evolves into a culture of your practice. And for us, collaboration is the key, because I think only one architect or few people cannot do justice to provide what expertise are required for a current size and scale of a complex projects. So it has to be a collaborative spirit and integrated way to deliver the projects. And there's another publication by Mapping talks about our collaborative practice and the framework by case studies, available again across globally. So I encourage you to check it out. In terms of sectors that we operate in, we are into most of the built environment sectors, and the numbers are the milestones that we have achieved in last 13 years in South Asia. Some more sectors and services that we offer, and footprint of our projects and offices across South Asia and internationally. In terms of how we started, our brand for South Asia that we introduced was a Bertil, North American practice. And then Bertil and Stentec merged in 2010-11, another large global practice operating from North America. And we again reintroduce ourselves, restructured for South Asia market as I&I brand. And currently, that is the brand we are operating in the region, and some of the locations and in-house services that we offer. So that's a brief introduction about I&I. And now we'll go straight into the theme of today's topic that I have. What I have is some initial slides talk about the framework of sustainability, and in last year we did some studies in parallel that is there a relation or correlation between the sustainable way of operating for built environment and the spirituality itself. So I keep asking after 30 plus years of a practice to myself that as a professional in this industry, or the practicing as a professional, what is the responsibility that I have? Do we do design? Do we do architecture? Do we do planning? And so forth. So that's the first question that I keep asking day in and day out. And the answer keeps evolving as you go year after year practicing. And in today's context, the answer that comes to my mind to the question is that we create physical framework for life, and purpose should be to facilitate enhancement. So that's the answer in today's my framework of practice. This is what I feel is what I do and what our practice does. And it keeps evolving, and we keep fine tuning this. Again, what is the responsibility as a professional practice and as an individual, and what is the purpose being a professional? And question I keep asking is it possible being a professional to infuse a positive change, whether it's a small project or a very large urban scale project and so forth? And often we feel that we are just a planner or an architect, and there's not much room for me or us to really make a big change. But I think the answer is the other way around, that we have a huge role to play, and we can definitely infuse a positive change. Maybe it's incremental, but it is definitely possible. So about the practicing in this realm, it's all about journey. Every day there is a new thing that you try to learn and solve. So journey is about seeking, discovering, researching, and so forth. And that's the way I start thinking about it. And the process of seeking continues. And spirituality is also a process of seeking, becoming aware of connection to something bigger. It typically involves a search for meaningful in life and our existence. And all this journey is more subjective, and you can't really define or measure, but you can really grow into it as you practice more. So similarly, when we go on this path of a spirituality, what experience you get as you grow into it, and how you grow into it, it's you have a deep sense of awareness, aliveness, and you feel connected to the bigger whole, whether it's a nature, whether it's a community, whether it's a city, nation, environment, and so forth. Uh, so that's the experience that you really start getting. Sustainability, this term is being talked probably too much today, and the real context often is not aligned when we talk about sustainability. So we try to really put it in a simple term, that it's all about sustaining existence and to exist in harmony and continue existence in harmony. So that's the sustainability. And again, measuring many aspects of sustainable uh, development is also elusive. Yeah, some aspects we can really measure, but there are many other aspects that are subjective, and we have to really start practicing those aspects to grow into it. The next question is there a relationship between it? And the way I look at it, without an appropriate spirituality, uh, even the idea of sustainability is unsustainable. So it's like two sides of a one coin. That the way I look at it. So the concept in the framework of sustainability and spirituality, just bear with me. We call it 2S or S&S concept. Uh, and it's all about a journey, a process which is dynamic and evolving, project after project, day after day. And your sense of purpose also clarifies as you really practice that in SNS mode. And you start adapting new things and grow into different relationship with your projects and contexts. Too much words as a designers, architects, planners, we like to put things in a sketch to understand it better. So on one side, I said we have one as spirituality, the other as sustainability. Both starts with process of seeking. And as you go about process of seeking, you become more aware. On spiritual side, you become aware about body, mind, emotions, energy, and so on and so forth. On the sustainability side, you become more aware of context, sound, vegetation, culture, social aspects, economic aspect, national issues, environmental issues, and so on and so forth as you start looking into, questioning into while you are working on any project. Uh, and as you start becoming more aware, uh, the connection with big gets established. On the spiritual side, it's you start connected with feeling connected with universe, nature, God, whatever you feel uh, at, in your belief, you start getting more connected with those aspects. Similarly, in sustainability, you start more inclusive, whether it's even if you are doing a small project which involves only building, but you start looking around surrounding building, surrounding community, city at large, country, ecosystems, and so on and so forth. So that's the drive one should really look for. As you progress into the journey, transformation starts happening in both sides, whether it's a spirituality or sustainability. You start really transforming in terms of a physical form, non-physical, light qualities, calmness, tranquility, productivity, happiness. The other indices that we discussed earlier. So there's a lot transformation that can come out of the process, and at the end, you are able to connect better uh, with your responsibility to service with the right value system, whether it's humanity, caring, doing what is right, and so forth. So, so I hope you are able to relate the 2S concept with this diagram. Now, too much of words here, and I'd like to just explain through a case study that how really you can go about as you work on a project and what would be the end result if you really set the right framework of 2S. So hope you all are with me. Let's look at a case study of a 2S, and the project that I'm going to cover is the Rajkot Smart City ABD area. So for initial process, as I said, is the uh, seeking process and five-step process for preparing for the city for smart city proposal. Most of you probably relate to the Rajkot. It's right here in Gujarat, and part of the Smart City initiative. Uh, this project was taken up. We worked with the client and the city to really submit for the Rajkot Smart City submission. The proposal was selected in June 2017, and the special purpose vehicle was established, and the entire project included pan city developments, but majority of the commitment was ABD, which is close to 900 plus acre of a new ABD smart city. And you can see on the map where that 900 acre site is in context of the Rajkot. Population, so part of the seeking that you really want to understand a lot of things about the city, people, surrounding, infrastructure, whatnot, culture, the history, background, and so forth. I won't really describe everything, but the population growth and becoming aware of the context, as I said from my diagram, city profile, becoming aware of all of the physical side and social side of the city as current situation that city offers. In, I won't read everything, but I think most of you as a planning uh, background, you go through this discovery or the research prior to going into the planning process. So solid waste, wastewater, safety issues, open space, employment generation, energy consumption, slum and affordable housing, cultural aspects, and transport and healthcare, and so forth. Some of the salient feature of the site, relatively very flat site. I'm talking the ABD area that was offered. Now, in terms of the urban growth throughout the years, mapping those from 1991 to current uh, date, and in terms of population, working population, household size, and literacy rate, and so forth. So the process of seeking continues as the starting point. Understanding of existing in terms of the road network, what issues are there, what bottlenecks are, area of the city, and how it really grows into which direction, and so forth. So this continues, as I said, understanding of existing, a lot of that. And then once you start looking at all this data, it helps you to understand the framework, that what happened and why it happened and where it's going and why it's going, and whether it's the right or there needs to be some alignment to it to steer it in a right direction. So looking at the network, whether it's a transportation network or a green network, you start then thinking about what potential it can have, look at different options and iterations and scenarios that fast forward scenarios. So we start parallelly towards the end of the seeking process. Then city already has a development plan, so you look at what goes in and why it was done and so forth, and in the context of fast forward for the city, uh, in terms of current GDCR and how they are really helping or not helping or needs tweaking. So you look at a lot of these aspects uh, parallel to site analysis. And I'll talk into more details why this site and what went into. So some physical aspect of access to the site, as you can see, the 45-meter road, which is a second ring road along this ring road, this site was selected, and soil types and groundwater tables and so forth. Then we start the stakeholders process and citizens engagement. About total participation in this engagement was about 9 lakh out of total population. So 70% of the total population participated in the engagement of framing what their smart city aspirations are. Uh, in, in, in this, a lot of programs where uh, and events were organized in terms of citizens' participation, in terms of inclusion, deliberation, refinement, and feedback loop. So programs like City Marathon, flower shows, many other events, seminars, and all those things were organized to really make this as a city's initiative rather than a few individuals or initiative. And part of these, several options were looked in terms of pan city area as well as area based development. And citizen polls were conducted, as you can see, in both options. And SWOT analysis was done for each options and really steer the strategic focus of the entire smart city initiative. So now we are moving from seeking to how do we start steering and transforming it while we establish the connection with the community, city, stakeholders, about 9 lakh citizens who participated. So connecting with from seeking, you are trying to connect with becoming aware of it, and then what way you can guide the transformation. Right. So again, SWOT analysis and city's goals were uh, part of this exercise that led to the defining the goals in terms of the overall smart city goals and strategic focus areas. So part of this citizens poll, those things came out as their priorities. And if we start putting it in a single framework of a city vision, so the vision came out of this exercise is to develop Rajkot a smart, livable, and iconic city of Gujarat with inclusive growth and sustainable development by leveraging its historic strength and providing state-of-art infrastructure delivery and services and empowering ecosystem by enabling citizens to realize their dreams. And then we listed together the goals: 24/7 water, safe and secure Rajkot, mobility challenge solving, Swachh Rajkot, affordable housing, energy efficient city, inclusive city, world class tourism was their aspiration. Sports should really play in growth of the city and health and well-being of the city, and encourage trade and business centers. So these were the goals that came out. And then parallelly, strategic focus areas: responsive governance, economically vibrant city, sustainable Rajkot with focus on water and energy security, safe and secure Rajkot with smart transport and traffic management, inclusive Rajkot and Swachh Rajkot. So these were the focus areas. So with this, our role was how do we come up and guide the entire process to transform Rajkot. As I said, in the citizens' participation, four different options were presented. Here you can see one was the greenfield development, which is the ABD, area-based development. Second option was retrofitting BRT as corridor, which is existing. Then the third option was along the Aji River, lot of slum development and unsafe, unhealthy environment to the citizens. So how do we really help that side of the city and redeveloped all of that? And the fourth option was retrofitting the existing race course area and surrounding area. And during the poll, the highest voting uh, was the city wants to really uh, go about area-based development. So about that was the sure outcome, that maximum vote was given to the greenfield development, while some of the pan city initiative. So along that, some of the pan city focus area was also happening. So both things had to go in parallel. Today, I'm going to focus quickly as a case study of the the area-based development, and how do we really leverage current BRT investment and extend it to the ABD area as part of the smart city initiative. So, looking at the regional level, more economic and social impact, how ABD development could contribute to the affordable housing, reinforcing cities' positioning at regional level in terms of recreation and tourism and sports was the aspiration. Then traffic decongestions, as well as grow the business and industry and offer new employment opportunities. So four areas, as I said, for the ABD district, and a design consideration were coming straight out from the citizen consultation, and what design strategies would guide this entire smart city master plan. Site, as I said, and the planning themes were regional level recreation and tourism nodes, and space for organized economic activities with business park and convention and exhibition center. Then we worked on SPV, which is already established, the initial funding and financial requirements for the stage one implementation. Overall, about 2,600 crores of total project funding was planned, and how to really acquire those funds in terms of center contribution, state contribution, ULBs, convergence, and PPP and infra development income. So from six different sources, this funding was secured. Financial plan abstract, I won't go into the details, but part of the scope included framework of all this and guiding through. Land optimization study is the key, where we started again that most of the Indian cities lack. So these are the quick case studies that I think most planning students go about, like, okay, Ahmedabad, if I take 25 hectare snapshot of Ahmedabad few areas, and if I look at the how efficiently land is used in terms of public realm, building footprint, and private open space, the way we have our development plans, the city regulations, and so forth, we have a system that really does not allow us to really use the land, which is the scarce resource, in the most efficient way. So in the diagram, you see the red color. That's inefficiency in terms of a land use. about 57% of the overall land is not as efficiently used. Uh, Similarly, in other Indian city, a snapshot of a Nariman Point, again red areas. Similarly, you can see about private open spaces which are left as a setbacks or as margins in the private lands are about 53%. Again, not a good way to utilize the scarce resource of a land versus some of the other aspired cities, London and San Francisco. If we look at the number, only private open spaces are less than 5%. Otherwise, most of the land is utilized in the most efficient way to maximize public realm and for the building footprint. Uh, so that's the quick study that we again presented to see if we can influence the decision making and the entire design process to see if we can transform and push everybody, including the authority and the political leadership, to do something better. And This is the content of the master plan. Part of that was tweaking the development control regulation, putting the new architectural guidelines to really guide the transformation and new environmental guidelines to transform the ABD area, and that can be filtered into the existing area as a next step. So this is the final diagram of the master plan of ABD area, existing site dimensions, as you can see. The starting point was these few areas which were water bodies, and they were holding lot of rainwater, storm water of the city catchment. And we said maybe this is the good opportunity to start uh, looking at whether it can transform and guide our master plan. And so we created starting point and see if we can create this lake and convert into a network of linkages. And then can we put the green walkways and bicycle ways around this network? So that guides the entire pedestrian friendly and walkable new smart ABD city. Then we started how do we introduce the other connectivity and start going into a block size and other transport network overlaying to this green network. Then place making, as we all want in any urban areas, we started looking at place making opportunities that really create the smaller districts within the larger framework. So we start locating and looking at that, and that adds to the second level of the network. And how do we go about creating a block size that is more uh, in terms of connectivity and walkable circulation, and how do we create a block perimeter, which is what we need to in most Indian cities. So that we started modeling interconnected districts. So then idea came up about these 6, 7 districts, whether it's a sports district, central district, convention districts, recreational district, and the location of each was put so that the other side of the city, as the city grows on all three sides, uh, the sum of the public realm can be shared spaces. So that's how we started looking into a district format. We have to go about formalizing, legalizing with the Act, a TP scheme. So we started overlapping and defining it into TP format from OP. So from uh, actual original plots to the final plots. and ownership level. So here we had a significant opportunity that we could see that bulk of the land is owned by the government or organizations, whether it's a local body or the state body and collector. So about 55% was public ownership here. And then we said we want to utilize this opportunity to offer maximum public realm as the other aspired city offer, and still not compromise on the other side, which are the ground coverage, which is economy, and FSI, which is again economy for the private owners. So how do we really create a win-win situation? We started running the model to maximize the potential. So for FSI parcels, maximizing those to create the more compact and high density districts and leave more open spaces, more publicly around. So we started defining those aspects, as you can see, and red are the 4 FSI areas. And we did a block study, as you can see, by how the built form would emerge. And we want to make sure that the built forms really create a wonderful urban enclosures. So maximum available heights were defined 150, 175, and then if you just utilize, maximize the ground coverage and build, how many floors you would need to consume all of the potential FSI available within the block. The dark orange color is what you would need to build to really consume all of the available FSI, but we provided more height and a potential form that can come out when all said and done could be something like that, offering a wonderful tight urban form with a lot of good block size to promote walkability and green open spaces. So this is what it could become. So we looked at a lot of model. I did not included everything. Then the mapping, the green network along the water channels, connecting all of the water bodies. Sorry? Hello?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Not being able to see your presentation.
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Don't know. Maybe I get out of a presentation and
Yes, sir.
open.
You have to reshare your screen.
Okay. Okay. Is it coming now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'm going fast. Just want to take through the entire framework. So bear with me. You were able to see the last slides, right?
No, sir. We can able to see the screen, but we can't able to see the presentation yet. Yes.
Let me know.
Actually, we are able to see.
Okay. Is it okay now? Hello?
Yes, yes.
It is fine.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. You were able to see these slides, right?
Yes, we saw all previous slides.
Okay. Perfect. Now, part of the potential urban form, the dark orange at the bottom floor is the arcade that we introduce in the new guideline. So shaded walkable arcades across the some of the corridors is what we introduce into the built form regulation. Then we started developing the green connectivity throughout the ABD city and what way public realm can be establish some of the offerings as part of the transformative guidelines and main features. So overall, 21 kilometers of a road network, giving the right block sizes, uh, 800 plus about 850-meter perimeter of a average block size. Some blocks are smaller, but the maximum is 850-meter perimeter of a block size in the entire this ABD area. 35% of the green open spaces, 22% of a circulation network, a lot of water rejuvenation features and canals were introduced. The FSI was also not compromised while providing all this public realm. A lot of sustainable and environmental guidelines were introduced in the overall ABD area. Again, robust infrastructure is planned and being executed as we speak. Affordable housing was being catered for, a lot of employment opportunity and IT and other surveillance, transport, and other measuring of all of the utilities were introduced. And some of the social aspects in terms of Atal Sarovar Central Park, business district, sport district, lake features, new race course, working women's hostels, health centers, skill development centers, sheltered home, and library and institutional were introduced. So this was the final master plan when we put all of the all of the amenities into the overall ABD area, where we have identified where some of these features will go as some of the phase 1 projects, and overall three-dimensional view in terms of a densification and offering different built environment for the districts. And coming back to the aspirations of the city, that sustainable, smart, livable, inclusive, and iconic city of Gujarat framework, and how it leveraged the site features, their industrial strength, and other potentials that they can unlock. In infrastructure, we brought the BRT connection all the way to this city, which is ABD city, and we created several scenarios. How do we bring the road network extensions overlap with ABD town planning and the DP plans, and started looking at hierarchy of some of the road network and cross sections with enough of a bike and pedestrian paths for each of these, from 60-meter right of way to all the way 18-meter right of way. We did a lot of iterations to make sure that maximizing public realm and more space for biking, shaded walkways, and so forth. As you can see, the BRT corridors were introduced within some of these to make it more mobility-driven neighborhoods. Then two types of junctions we introduced. One are the controlled intersection and uncontrolled intersection throughout this entire ABD city area, and introduce some of the services accordingly. Entire cycling network we mapped, and the circles are 5-minute walking distance circles. So, and the black dots you see are the BRT stops, and how they really provide 5-minute connectivity to most of the density in the smart city area. And again, larger map on bringing the BRT network to the smart city area, which is being currently executed as we speak. So this is within the smart city area, the BRT loop and the stops. We have introduced two routes. One route is more a loop, and the other route is the feeder loop, and they both overlap. And our intermodal connect hub is also introduced, and the BRT is connected to that as well. Paratransit for auto rickshaws and other stands were also planned and introduced along the BRT route. Parking infrastructure is being nailed down.
Excuse me, sir.
Sir, yeah.
So, I'm sorry to interrupt. Actually, within a few minutes now, the
Yeah.
3 panel sessions will have to start
Right.
because, and we have our international guests who would be chairing these sessions. They are in different time zones. So, I
Okay.
request you to kindly wrap up quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just the last few slides. This is what was the starting point. The magenta line is the site boundary and the land configuration. The map showing the original plots. Then starting transforming the city, smart city area, putting all of the elements and turning into potential of final plots and buildability. And this is the final TP map, map overlaying local area plans and other amenities. And then I won't touch on each aspect of the infrastructure in the interest of the time. Let me see if I can just jump to the last ones. Okay, so phase one projects. I just skipped all of the robust infrastructure slides, and we look at the few initial phase one projects. This Atal Sarovar is one of the largest lake, about 75 acres of a park and lake is being introduced for the city, which is being under construction. This is overall amenities around this park and lake area. Some of the amphitheater areas, the plazas, the other parks, the island, Lake 2 features, which is 39 acres of a lake and parks. So a lot of public realm is being introduced as part of this. A lot of vending and hawker zones being introduced into these areas. So each district will have enough of hawker zones and informal market. Lot of artwork is being introduced as part of these and built into the guidelines. Lake 3, 21 acres of a park and lake. Again, other areas surrounding, and then the Central Park, another 11 acres of a public realm is being introduced. Then the Business Park and Convention District is being introduced in 18 acres. Master plan and the network and infrastructure is being placed as we speak on site for this business park. Then the sport districts of about 44 acres has been planned for the city at international level sports amenities. A lot of sports amenities have been introduced, and the master plan is developed at district level. some other public realm and public projects, command center to measure and the performance of each of the aspect of the city. Knowledge hub, working women's hostel is being part of the proposal. The incubation center, library, skill development center. So a lot of these initial infrastructure projects have been proposed and being introduced as phase one budget. Then this city is being ranked. I won't go into detail, but like shaded corridor for public walking and public park, mobility in terms of BRT as well as the bicycle path, and is being introduced in terms of a water efficiency and infrastructure efficiency. So a lot of green features have been already being designed and being currently built. Knowledge zone, and this is current Google map where the infrastructure is being in place. As you can see, L&T is executing in a phased manner this project. Some of the site pictures, and this is the current state of the construction being ongoing. And the entire effort has been recognized as first platinum level green smart city of this scale at India level. So recently been awarded, city was awarded as a platinum smart city initiative. Last slide. So through the process of framework of sustainability, becoming aware through a seeking, connect with big transformation is what I showed with a case study. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir. I believe what we resonated with most in your presentation was when you said that without an appropriate spirituality, even the idea of sustainability is unsustainable. It was very interesting to see a project come together from scratch, and we thank you for being here today.